Hey y'all, give us just a minute while we try to get each other joined. Hey Jazzy. Yay!
Oh, excuse me.
We did it.
That was the trick. We always try to figure it out.
One show at a time,
Welcome
right?
back to Monumental Minds. I'm Megan Rose.
And I'm Raya Ray, and we're the co-owners and founders of MR2 Connections Incorporated. I just wanted to thank you guys for jumping on here with us tonight. Usually we're Saturdays at 6 p.m. Central. But sometimes life or emotions, or sometimes it's easier for speakers to do Sunday over Saturday. But last night when we went to go live, we were just super overwhelmed with emotions that like we didn't even understand. So we had to give ourselves a little time and kind of grant ourselves the time to think about what was going on, because normally, although it's nerve-wracking to get on here live on Saturdays or Sundays, like we can usually just hit go live and we're confident about what we're going to get on here and say and what we're going to share. But last night was really, really hard. So let's jump into it. It was self-image that we were going to talk about. So let's just, uncomfortable and all, let's get into it.
Yeah, it is overwhelming sometimes to even think about or even talk about as 91% of all females struggle with some sort of you know the way they see themselves. They don't like something about their physical appearance or something in their character, whatever it is. They just don't like something about themselves. And then 50% of people in general struggle with the way they view themselves in self-image and body image. And that's huge. And we literally sat there and we went to go push live, and we did push live a couple of times, so we were just like, this is heavier than we kind of expected to. So we had to take a step back. And was this something that even I mean, 91%, we're in that 91%. This is something that we struggle with on a daily basis. And, it's something that we're working through in how we see ourselves. And so it's so important that we felt it really heavy on our hearts that we wanted to talk about it and share it.
Right. Like, most definitely not where we need to be. I think I can speak for both of us on that, but it's a journey for sure. And when we talk about 91% of women not liking the way that they look or something about the way they look, there's a job to be done, right? Like, we need to teach self-love. We need to advocate for self-love, what it is. Maybe you don't know what it is. Maybe you don't know how to love yourself. But if that's the case, then we have so much to talk about, right? Because 91, I mean, this might as well be 100%, you know? In my mind, it might as well be 100% of women. And that to me is just mind-boggling, you know?
It
And
is.
it's like people, like, I have made growth on it, but like, I definitely still have my problems as well. I mean, I was freaking out just as much to go live last night and to talk about it before I could kind of get a chance to reflect on why I was feeling that way and things.
Yeah, it's no, where do you start even, or where do you begin? It's so vast, and the numbers are just staggering. So there's just so many people that you know that we can relate to the things that we go through, and the things that we face. And I feel like a big part of it for me has been kind of reprogramming the way I think, because it's easy to step into the mirror and find everything that I don't like,
Right.
but to really focus on the things that I love about myself. I love my eyes. I have like magic eyes. They shift from blue to green, and they're super cool. So
Girl, yes.
I celebrate that, and I love
Yes.
it. So speaking that and redirecting your focus and navigating past the negative emotions that you experience or feel when you step into the mirror, or maybe you're stepping into a pair of jeans that doesn't fit the way they used to, instead of feeling negatively, or like, it's because it's so easy to hammer down on yourself and just feel so like you self-destruct almost. So reroute and be like, okay, so what can I do to feel better? What can I do to what can I focus on? What fitness trends can I get back into? Because yoga used to be a big thing for me, and that's something that I've been picking up, is the stretching and the getting active and physical, making myself feel good and focusing on the things that make me feel good versus the things that kind of bring me down and weigh me down.
Yeah, I mean, that's totally right. Like, getting yourself out of that negative self-talk is really what it is, right? And that's something that you may not have right now, but the good thing about that is you can train your brain to get out of it. And I know, like, a big tool for me has been the 5 second rule. It's another Mel Robbins one, and it's counting down from five, right? So many times it's 1, 2, 3, right? As a parent, or when you were a kid, it's, you count to three, and if by the count of three you're not doing something right, then it was whatever the consequence, right? So instead of counting up, we count down. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you just do. You do whatever is blocking you, or that's how you get yourself out of that negative talk. Or she even talks about that as far as waking up in the morning. So when you hear that alarm, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you get up. And that's how, like, when we talk a lot about the things we're going to talk about today, um, it's a lot about reprogramming the way you talk to yourself and the way you think about yourself, ultimately, right? Um, another another quote that we found as we were kind of looking up for different content and things to talk about tonight when we were thinking about self-image is, we oftentimes speak a lot of the times to ladies or to women, but when we were scrolling through self-care images, we saw a quote held up by a man saying, it's just as hard to be Ken as it is to be Barbie. And that really made me step back and think for a second and think, who are we not speaking for? And it's definitely male self-image.
Yeah, and that's been a big thing. I've had more recently several men reach out to me who have struggled with eating disorders, or body images and the way they feel about themselves, and struggled with depression that has fed off of the negative self-image that they had. And it's really cool to see men kind of step forward now more, because it's just 50% of what was it, 50% of
50%
people,
of
but it's
people.
20
So,
20% of men,
yeah.
20 to 40% of men.
Mm-hmm.
struggle with it, so it's a much less number, but that's the number that have actually like come forward and admitted to having it, and I feel like there's kind of a barrier there too.
Yeah, kind of a stigma around men saying that they have that self-image issue, right?
Right, and I can't speak for a man. I can't, but it's really cool to have people reach out more, men reach out more, saying, "Hey, this is not just something that stereotypically women struggle with, but this is something that I've battled with myself." And to have them come up and speak up on behalf of men who are struggling with it, it's hard. There's not many people who can really relate to that now, so.
Right. And I think too, like, okay, so when we think the whole Ken and Barbie, right? For women, it has to do a lot with weight and being skinny, right? Um, uh, not so much being fit, which is what I would more like to think of it as, but like being skinny and wearing makeup and wearing the best clothes or the tightest but I think for men it's who's got the most muscle, but there's still equally as much things for a male as there is female. It's just different, you
Right,
know.
absolutely. It is. It is
And they
absolutely.
kind of like the bullying is different. I think female versus male, right? Like the way they kind of get at each other over self-image and the way that females kind of get at each other over self-image is a lot different too. So I think it just takes us all. Oop,
You
there we go. The
froze.
video went away. Yeah, sorry. Another notification came up, so the video went away for a second. Um, I think totally. It's just I think we need to be vulnerable both ways, right? If we want to be understood by males as females, then we need to also understand them and not just push back because I think everybody has similar issues, and we have to come together, right? If we want to even start to touch any of these self-image and self-love topics.
Yeah, and yeah, you brought up a very valid point too with the type of kind of like attacks and bullying that you get. The different body shaming, like men get attacked differently, but it's still the same. There's still like a stereotype. There's still like that image out there, and that's this. I feel like as we've kind of evolved. I mean, it was so different in the '90s. It really was. Like when
Mm-hmm.
I was a kid, like skinny was it.
Yep.
Skinny, tan, like there was a very specific, and I love how society has embraced women with curves more now
Yeah.
than ever, but there's still that kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Like that programming in our brains where like we
Yep.
still want to be skinny, right? It's still
Mm-hmm.
there. Especially growing up it was really, really hard in my household. It was just like 1 pound. If you gain 1 pound, it was publicized. It was really hard. Like um, it was just yeah, it was a struggle and getting
So
past
like
that.
what comes, yeah, how do you deal with that now? Because like it wasn't like that in my household and I just feel for you in such a way that was like that for you. I think my mom dealt with some of the same issues, so I've kind of started to think about how in the world do you deal with that on the other end? Like how have you tried to push past that on the other end, or is it something that still affects you now?
Yeah, it does. I can't say it doesn't still affect me because it's still
Right.
kind of there, and that feeds a little bit into the like the triggers that you experience with PTSD and having gone through something like that. Because growing up, my mother was very harsh in that sense. And, look now realizing the way that they grew up, they just really wanted the best for me. They wanted to make sure there was always that you need to find a man stereotype. So you have to look a certain way and be very skinny. And I had to get that out of my head. And it took um, really taking the time to get to know myself and fall in love with myself for who I am and finding my purpose. And we'll go in a little bit into that a little bit later, but um, it takes a lot of self-reflection and pulling outside of what you think society is expecting from you, or what your parents may be expecting from you, or what people you aspire to be, or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
You got to pull away from that and really fall in love with who you are. And again, focusing on the things that you love about yourself truly, and focusing on those and celebrating the wins. And you're going to talk a little bit more about that later, I know. That's been so cool. You've been so inspiring to me, even with daily celebration of yourself. You have to celebrate yourself,
Yeah.
because you can't really truly love anybody else or expect anybody to love you until you love yourself.
And it's
Because then you
always,
become a
that's
magnet.
always such like a cliche phrase, or I don't know about cliche is the word I'm looking for, but I always heard that from my mom, right? When I was dating growing up, it was like, no, Mariah, spend some time looking at yourself before you decide to jump into a relationship, right? Or like it was said maybe a little bit differently. But like when I think about it that way, I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, she was right. You really do have to learn to love yourself first. But I mean, it's a learning process, right? So I mean, now I get that looking, hindsight's 2020, right? Um, but it's you really have to learn to love yourself, and self-care and self-love, and all those things before you can truly give like your best self back to anyone, whether it be a relationship, friendship, mother daughter, whatever it may be. And that leads me kind of into the next quote that I found for tonight, by Jonathan Van Ness, of course, my favorite
Oh,
queen.
I just love
I,
him.
I could go on and on about my JVN, but I'll keep that for another day. Um, he says it's worth investing a few minutes in yourself. It's not vanity, it's self-care. There's a difference. Um, and I think too, right? I think that's kind of an older thing, is like it's always looked at as vanity, and we need to change that. It's not vanity, it's self-care. Because I'm not huge on makeup every time, but when I'm showing up and I'm trying to be on this platform, right? Yeah, I get makeup on because I'm trying to reach somebody. I'm trying to show up and be the face of something so that I can, we can reach somebody. But at the same time, that's not, it's not just vanity. It's because I want to show up for myself, and it makes such a
Right.
big difference when you're doing it to show up for yourself instead of just doing it because like the lady in the magazine looked like this, you know?
Yeah. And I'm so glad you brought that up. I love makeup. I love it. It makes me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Taking that extra little time, and it's not something you got to find a line too, because you don't want to hide behind it and you don't want to be shamed. Because I used to like be just and I still struggle with this sometimes. Like leaving the house, like having like we were going to talk about this too.
Mm-hmm.
Having the COVID masks off now is
Mm-hmm.
bringing a lot of kind of
Insecurities. Mm-hmm.
yeah, major insecurities. I was like, oh my god, I got to put my face on, and you got to embrace that and like acknowledge it, but kind of redirect it, because I realized that I was kind of almost shaming myself every time I stepped outside. If I did, I don't need it, but it does make me feel good. So I'm going to accept that into my program and allow myself to feel good about myself.
Right. Definitely. I mean, on our episodes of Monumental Minds, we've talked a lot about the challenges that COVID has really brought in mental health, the masks, different things that it's triggered for people. And when we talk about masks, and I remember when I was still working in the corporate world, when I was wearing I kind of forgot to talk or to even communicate, right? You have something over your face. So it's so easy to just get to just kind of hermit, right? And that's my go-to when I'm not feeling well already. So that really affected things for me. And I think too, um, with depression and things, you can often be challenged by just normal daily tasks and hygiene going downhill. So when you have this mask covering everything, right, it's easy. And depression and how those 2 years went for mental illness and things, it just really affected at so many different levels. And now all those insecurities you had when that mask was over it, everything is being brought to light. And it's like, oh my gosh, right? And now it's this whole other thing where you really have to kind of dig deep and reflect again on, you know what, I am beautiful without the mask.
Yes, and
So,
that's deep, so deep. It's crazy. And there was even this thing, I thought it was kind of funny, but then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually taking this to heart. like COVID sexy, because you didn't have to worry about anything from the eyes down. So like the focal point, people,
Right.
people's, we were thinking completely differently about how we were going to be presenting ourselves and how we think about ourselves. And all of a sudden, this didn't really matter. And then coming out, yeah, that was hard for me to come into. I was like,
Yep. It was nice for winter. Like, the only thing I can say, it was nice for winter because it kept you warmer to have your
oh
mask
my
on.
gosh.
You know, that's one of the positives. Like, if anybody can come up with another positive, drop it in the comments because I would love to know. But what I found is that it kept me a lot warmer.
Very true.
Oh, hi, buddy. He's like, I want to be in on it. Oh, all the love.
So much love.
So like some of the next points we have as far as notes is to kind of assess who's at your table. You know, who do you have sitting at your table? Who is that close group of friends that you have? And have you really taken a look at it in a while? Who's rooting for you? I know for myself that I have a lot of friends on social media. These are women that I haven't even met in person, but I feel like I have because we've been watching each other's stories and rooting for each other. We're all doing different things. We're so accepting of the fact that we're all doing different things. But I have a lot of people rooting me on, you know, whether it be my business partner, Megan, or all these ladies that we've built this strength, like this really strong relationship and network with. And even the guest speakers that we've grown so close to since having them on here as guest speakers, and just really pulling all these positive people into our corner and into our circle. Yeah, like family, right? And it's just the ways that we can support each other. And when we post a picture, just that reassurance, when those girls are ready and they're there to jump on it and be like, you are beautiful, you are strong, you got this, girl, like bring the fire. So like when you really think about the people that are in your circle, do you have that? You know, and I think that's something you have to ask yourself.
Yeah, that's major. That goes a lot into protecting your energy too, and just make sure that you're filtering the positive, those positive energies and those positive vibes from the cheerleaders and the people who are going to lift you up. Because if you're surrounded by people who are constantly bringing you down or bringing your faults to light in a negative way, because there's no constructive criticism and building people up in a positive way. We all know there's areas of opportunity that we want to work on, but when people are tearing you down and making you feel almost less than human sometimes, and berating you or bullying you or making you feel ashamed, that's just, those are the people you got to cut out of your life quick. And I hate to say that so harshly, but you have to put distance. You have to separate yourself and protect your energy, because those are the things you're going to continue to focus on if those are the things that you're allowing in your bubble, I guess, so to speak. There are people that I absolutely love and adore and care for very deeply, but I know that it's just there has to be a healthy distance there in order to protect myself and where I'm going, because my focus has to maintain on the positive, on the goals, and the people who are going to lift me up and continue to support me and elevate. We need to elevate each other and lift each other up. There's just so much bullying out there, and there's so much judgment and so much hate, and a lot of times that's the easiest thing for us to focus on, because it cuts deep. That's why it's important to have like those people that you can call in your deepest, darkest hour, the people who are going to lift you up, having those cheerleaders in your life and having your inner circle.
Yeah. Mel Robbins talks a lot about a 4 a.m. friend. And do you have a 4 a.m. friend? And I really like what she talked about, because she talks about you don't need quantity, it's quality. So I can have 100 followers, but out of those followers, if I needed somebody or I messaged somebody or I needed to call somebody, even take it off social, if I needed to call and it would be Megan or her sister Kate. Those are my 4 a.m. friends, you know, and Kathy, she's my 4 a.m. friend. So I mean, I'm blessed to have 3 of them. I'm so blessed to have 3 of them. But at the end of the day, what you need is at least one 4 a.m. friend, and like really ask yourself, do I have that? You know, if I woke up and I was questioning my self-love, my self-care, questioning everything about myself in a negative self, you know, in that negative self-talk loop, is there somebody that you can call that's gonna reassure you, that's going to tell you you're beautiful, and like genuinely mean it, you know? Do affirmations with you. Affirmations are huge. I know Megan practices them a lot, and I try to as well. I'm more of a writing them down. Megan's gotten to more of the voicing them out. I like to, I really want to get to the being able to voice them out, but for me, it's a little bit harder. But when I write them down, I'm at least reassuring myself. But I want to start getting, I do a lot of the mirror and the celebrating and the high five, but actually being able to speak out those words of affirmation to myself, I still have like a small block on that.
Yeah, no, and it's just it's so powerful to write them down too, and I do make sure that I write them down because it's it does a lot of the same thing as speaking them out loud kind of forms them and manifests them, but you're focusing your brain when you're writing them down, so it's so powerful to do that as well. It's kind of like it takes me back to like elementary school when we used to like write out the sentences or the words over and over to get the spelling right because
Right.
writing them over and over, you're gonna believe it and you're gonna, you
Learn.
know, and I
Remember, yeah.
I speak some outrageous things into existence, man, because I believe it wholly and solely, and those are the things that I'm working towards and manifesting. And man, like I don't know, I'm pretty animated with it, but I love it. It's there's so much power in it, and it draws so much positive energy in it, and it redirects your focus onto those positive things.
One of the ones I really like of yours is I'm a miracle magnet. So like that's one of the ones I've
Oh,
been trying to really embrace myself, because a lot of the times I like to, you know, it's like what's happening just right next, you know, and that's what I can focus on. But really, like there's like the world and the power and the universe or God or whoever your power is, like there's so many miracles that all of us can have if we show up for them. And
oh
part of that
yeah,
is like caring for yourself enough to get up and to show up and to, you know, do those daily habits that you're showing up for yourself so that you can get blessed and so that you can have those miracles happen to you. So that the miracle maker is what I'm trying to do.
yeah, I love that one. I am a miracle magnet.
Yeah, miracle magnet.
Yes, I love it. I love it. And then another big one is I am love. And
Yeah.
I say that a lot to myself. I actually went to it was when I was with Vector Marketing selling Cutco, and I was at one of the conferences with Jeffrey Bobrick, and he's absolutely incredible. He changed my life forever. We were in San Diego, and he was talking about you being your greatest masterpiece.
Yeah.
And oh, it hit home. I was just bawling my eyes out like a baby. I was like, yes, I am. I am great. I'm the creator. You know, it's just, it was so powerful. And he actually pulled me out as he had finished his talk and came down the aisle. I was in the aisle seat, and he pulled me out and gave me a hug. And he's like, you are great. You are love. I'm like, oh, but you know, you think about it. I'm like, okay, that's awesome. Like the fact that I'm radiating that, that's all I've ever wanted. And I held on to that because that's what I want to reflect and that's what I want to be. That's what I want to radiate. And when you program that into your mind, it teaches yourself how to love yourself because you act in the, so what is love? What would I do to love what I have, what I've been created to be? And then you draw other people in, and that's when you can really teach others to love themselves just as much. And it just, oh, it's just amazing. You become a magnet, a love magnet. I'm a love magnet.
I am a love magnet, honey. Yes. Yeah, I mean, that goes straight into talking about more of just the things that we've been trying to dive into with Mel Robbins and really the mirror. So I want to talk a second about what she talks about the mirror face, right? So when we pull down a mirror and we go and we're about to take a selfie, right? and you look and you automatically have that one thing you're looking at that's going to be wrong, right? You're like, no, like this chin, no, honey. You know, it's like, So it's like, and then I'm going to, on the next one, and then you have the face that you're going to take the picture with. And I think she talks a lot about getting comfortable with your mirror face, you know, just what you look like in the mirror. And then it goes even further to, let's celebrate ourselves. Like, take a moment to look in the mirror in the morning and give yourself a high five, a genuine high five for getting up. That's pretty great, right? Because some days that's hard. So like even the small stuff, but being able to face yourself in the mirror, that's celebratory of a high five. Brushing your teeth, because for some people, mental health, it's hard, you know, those hygiene habits. Give yourself a high five. But really celebrating yourself. And you had a quote, Megan, about comparison that I really liked.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Because man, comparison is destructive. It's so highly destructive. And I love this quote. It's by Bryant McGill. Comparison is always the beginning of the death of self-love. The second you start comparing yourself to other people, the love you have for yourself is diminishing instantly. And it's just crazy. There was another quote, comparison kills creativity, and it does. And that's why I've really implemented this. And you actually taught me this, Mariah. When you first wake up, do not plug into your phone right away, because I was doing that and I was just allowing, just like you're letting thousands of people into your bedroom before you've even given yourself a chance for you've given a moment for yourself. You need to take a few minutes for yourself. So I separate and dedicate those 15 minutes at least to myself. And I noticed a huge difference. And it was crazy because I didn't think about it before. But I would get these blocks where I'm like, what do I post today? Like, I don't know what to do for content. You know, where do I want to go? What am I feeling? And I was instantly influenced by hundreds of other people, and nothing was really truly mine. Because you're instantly comparing, and you just shut yourself out.
Yeah, it's so important. I learned a lot about that, taking that time at the It Works conference that I attended in February. But a lot of the things they say, you know, is that take your time for yourself in the morning, and like that is entering thousands of people into your bedroom before you even give your time, your celebratory time for yourself. So I challenge you guys, like I mean, even I was doing it, right? It's a work in progress. I was looking at my phone as soon as I would wake up in the morning, because I wanted to know, did my TikTok go viral? How many friends did I gain overnight? Why is that the first thing I'm thinking of? Why not like
And then your emotions are immediately influenced
right?
by the results you had. You're comparing yourself.
I'm like,
Oh
I
well,
didn't go
this
viral.
girl got 20,000 likes. How am I? You know, and oh my gosh, I compare. I'm like, well, their post is so good. How can I compare to that? I can't even come up with a good
Yep.
post now. You know, it's
So
just
then you
ridiculous.
throw
I would get
something
that all.
up, you're not happy about
Right.
it. Yep. And then you're already in that cycle. And you literally
Right.
have just woken up. So it's so important. Like, if you're not giving yourself that time in the morning, give yourself that time in the morning just to sit with yourself. And I promise you too, like if you're a mom, it needs to be before your kid wakes up. Because once your kid wakes up, you're in mommy mode. So you really need to give yourself that time before anybody else wakes up in the household. So for myself, you know, Nina has to get up at 6:30. So if whatever time I want truly to myself, it needs to happen before 6:30 because that's her school time. So moms out there, really wake up before your kids get up, okay? And give yourself the time ahead of time. And if you start doing this, we really want to know how it's changing you, because it really will make such a big difference. And I think too, when I look in the morning and I give myself that and I start to look through the lens of gratitude early on in the morning, what am I thankful for, right? Before I even start, I'm thankful for a roof over my head. You know, I'm thankful for the food that I'm going to eat today, you know, before anything else in the world happens, to really look at what you're grateful for.
And then it just makes room those loving energies, those
Yep.
energies of gratitude. It fuels that, and it allows you to stay programmed and stay true to yourself, and, you know, accept and, really truly find your passion and purpose in that.
Right. Find your morals and what you want to stick to, for your whole day, and figure that out before you start having other people interfere with that. I have another quote that I found. It's on self-love. It says, "It doesn't mean that everyone will treat you the way you deserve to be treated. It means that you won't let them change the way you see yourself, nor will you stick around for them to destroy you." Um, and that one hit home, right? Because when you truly love yourself, and right, I'm in the process. I'm not to truly 100% loving myself, but I am determined to work towards it. But when you can get to that point where anyone around you cannot destroy how you feel about yourself, right? No negative comment could destroy how you feel about yourself. Nothing from the outside. Like I can't wait for nothing from the outside to affect how I feel about myself, or a filter, or certain lighting, or if I'm not wearing makeup, do I truly love myself? And that's the point where I want to get to. And I think it's just going to take stepping out of that comfort zone to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of it is just, finding your confidence and building up your confidence and the different things that you do and things that you focus on. A quote that really hit home for me is, understanding is love. If you can't understand, you cannot love. When you understand yourself, you love yourself. When you take a step back to really embrace the emotions, what you're feeling, what's triggering, whatever it is, and understand who you are and what your purpose is, that's when you kind of find that inner peace and can find the routes or the tools or the programs that work for you to really embrace that into your daily life.
Right. And then you become more proactive about everything instead of reactive to maybe negative things that come to you throughout the day. And that alone will truly change it when you can sit back and not have to fight anything negative that comes at you, because you are so at peace with who you are on the inside. And that's a beautiful thing. And as we work more towards that, I was thinking about doing like a no makeup Monday and trying to do all my posts no makeup or something. I'm trying to think of some way that I can hold myself accountable and also share and hopefully inspire other ladies or girls or women to do the same, or to
Or men,
start to feel
because
more
men, I've
comfortable.
noticed a lot, they struggle with the dysmorphia and like having to use a filter, it's a thing. So we challenge everybody to hop on board with this. I know I'm going to challenge myself to do it too. That's a hard one for me. It's a really hard one for me.
Yeah, I want to definitely try. So tomorrow, make sure you're checking out my page and see what I'm doing. It's I think I'm gonna stick to no makeup Monday. And the way I think I'm gonna push through no makeup Monday for me, because it's not gonna be easy. I mean, when I get on TikTok and I'm posting videos, and I'm getting on Facebook and I'm posting videos, Instagram, whatever it may be, we're everywhere now. I have makeup
Everywhere.
on when I do that. And if I don't have makeup on, I have a filter on. So on Mondays, just to push myself at the beginning of my week to be comfortable with myself. And I think that's also why I chose Monday, because if I can push myself on a Monday and get myself in a good mindset for the week, I think that's really going to do great things.
Yeah, I agree. We always used to say, when I did door-to-door sales for a long time. Monday was start your week off right.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, starting your week off fresh, truly embracing yourself for who you are naturally, wholly and solely, inside and out. That's huge. And I think, you might see a noticeable difference. So I'm totally on board with that challenge. I want to do it. I'm doing it.
Yes, I think as you have the book now, you have the high five habit. So like start reading that and start doing some of those mirror pictures and just facing yourself. And it's hard, it's uncomfortable, it's
It
growth.
is.
Right, but like at the end of the day, like growth happens at the end of our comfort zone. And that's just, that is what it is. And for us to get through these blocks and be able to reach more and more people, this is just what we have to do. Because believe me, I'm not excited about No Makeup Monday. Okay. Not necessarily, but I'm excited to help someone else be able to feel comfortable in their skin, even though I'm feeling uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, and it's going to help us in our growth process too, because we have, I mean, this is something that we are not masters by any means.
Right.
So if anybody's under that impression, we are not. And that's why we're so excited about this, because we're growing every single day more and more and more, and we're learning so much about ourselves, and we're in this journey with you guys. And I just, that stigma, we just want to break it.
Yes.
Because there's so many, there's so much negativity behind it, and that's why we want to like open up. Like, I mean, we froze, man. It was so real, it was so heavy. I'm like, but it's so important at the same time. It's just so absolutely necessary. And we appreciate you so much for being here, through it and with us, and we just want to encourage you as much as possible. So as we're learning and growing, we want to share what we're learning. I mean, Mariah's just so on point with the self-development, and she's been so inspiring to me. Reading through my, ADHD, we talked about the one mindness training. So I do use that to train myself to stay focused, but it takes me a little bit longer. So I learned so much. She's like 5 books ahead of me right now.
It's audible.
It's just incredible.
It's audible. It allows me to listen. Yeah. So even like moving throughout the day, and since we both work from home, Audible has allowed me to just take my phone with me anywhere and get through more books than I normally would. Although I'm still a sucker for like having a book and writing a million notes in it. Because that just helps me retain.
I love it. I love having the paper. But it was really cool. I was over there yesterday, and she had the Audible. Oh Lord, have mercy. What's the name of it?
Karamo Brown.
Karamo. Oh my gosh, duh. Don't hate me, Karamo. I love you so much. Oh my gosh, I had a total. I'm like, and a total brain fart. He is awesome. I got the last 12 minutes of that Audible, and I even shocked myself, because my resistance to that was, well, I won't be able to pay attention anyway, right? I gave myself that excuse not to do it, but I was shocked at how I was very into it. It was so cool. So I'm totally on board with. I got to get the Audible downloaded.
And then it allows you, right, to even stop and to record a clip or to write a note. So you can stop, like, if he says something. You showed me
that. I was like,
yeah. So if he says something, I stopped a lot of the times through and topics to even bring up in future shows, because well, we'll get to that. There's something that I still haven't brought up with everybody that he kind of had a similar struggle with, that I think I can learn a lot from him for when I bring that up to our community. So it's really important that you go towards your role models and listen to their stories, because they've had the courage already to share their stories and learned that self-love and that self-compassion already. And I think it's really important that you do look towards those people that have done it already and see what little bits and pieces you can pull to help you on your journey of self-discovery and self-love and self-care.
Yeah, absolutely. I just love it. People like Rachel Hollis, Tony Robbins, Mel Robbins, all these people who've just been there. They're so inspiring. Jonathan Van Ness, I just absolutely love him.
He just makes me blush.
I just love them all. I just absolutely love them. And to hear their stories and their journeys and how far they've come, and even to have this platform to have people in the midst of their journey. I mean, we've come a long way, but we have so far to go. And we love being here with you guys, being able to share it, and that's why we've developed this, to open it up and make it okay to, hey, we're all in it together. No one is alone by any means, and so oftentimes you feel alone, especially when you're lacking that love for yourself. You don't feel worthy to even share your story or seek help sometimes. So we just love you guys so much, and we appreciate you.
And a quick shout out, quick shout out for just the show itself is we're looking for speakers. And I challenge you guys to, if you've gone through anything, right? We're talking mental illness, any body dysmorphia, eating disorders, anything, honestly. Like if you have been through something and you have come out on the other side, we want to hear about it because somebody else could need to hear that story. And that's what this platform is all about. And that's why we created this. And we need speakers. If you are feeling nervous about speaking, if live speaking isn't really your thing, we can do a pre-record. And we can do that on Zoom. We'll be figuring that out. We actually have one coming up on Tuesday. So hopefully by the time we get to everybody else, we will be closer to pros on that, on the whole pre-recording thing. So if it's nerve-wracking to you to see the whole live thing, we can work with you, and also maybe talk through some of those feelings that are holding you back from sharing your story. So if you have any interest in that, please reach out to either Megan or I on any platform, because we are looking for people who would love to inspire others.
Yeah, there's so much we can learn from each other. There's no one right way, and that's what I really truly want to promote and emphasize, is that we embrace all walks of life, all belief systems, all programs, all faith, whatever it is, whatever your journey is, no matter where you came from. We want to know what you went through, how you got through it. It's so inspiring and so motivating. And there's so many people that can learn from each one of us individually in a different level, in a different way. And we just love you guys so much. We couldn't do it without you, and we appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for bearing with us. We were there, but sometimes this is a part of our journey, and we really want to be vulnerable and open and honest and real. This is real talk.
Yeah. And I just challenge you guys to, the way that you speak to yourself matters. So think about that this week as you go along, and the way you truly talk to yourself, whether you speak it out loud or whether it's in your head, that matters, and that is what you will manifest. So the self-deprecating things and the self-deprecating thoughts, stop it. And you'll catch yourself, you know what I mean? And when you're starting to talk negative about yourself, or you're being self-deprecating, like really think about that, because that's what you'll manifest, and then everything around you will spiral off of that. So as this week goes along, just remember to talk kindly to yourself, as kindly as you would talk to somebody else. You should be talking even kinder to yourself.
Amen. Yes.
Yeah.
Say that again. Say that again.
Louder for those in the back, right? And then also just remember that growth happens at the end of your comfort zone. So if you're not feeling uncomfortable, you're probably not growing. Yesterday, super uncomfortable for us, but today we were ready. We had talked it out. We, had gotten more things to really talk about and that we felt were on our heart, and here we are doing it. But yesterday it was just not the time. So respect your feelings, and speak nicely to yourself, and give yourself a little grace. And I think we all need to learn how to re-love ourselves.
Yeah, and find your cheerleaders. We all need cheerleaders.
Yes.
Especially in this time. Oh my gosh, and it's spring, y'all. It's time for those good vibes.
Yes.
We need to embrace each other, and just lift each other up. If you know somebody who's struggling, be that smile, be that kind face, be that source of love, because it's not always easy.
And reach out to even your strong friends. I want to be an advocate for that, because the people that are cheerleading for everyone else also need a cheerleader. And a lot of those cheerleaders for myself are the people that we've had here as guest speakers. So I cheerlead for a lot of other people, and Megan cheerleads for a lot of other people, but sometimes people forget that even the strong people need the cheerleaders. So even check on the ones that you think are doing well. It's just important to check in with everybody. So during the week, check in with people, talk kindly to yourself, and we'll see you next week.
Yes. So we're doing the pre-recorded this week, so it'll be a little different this coming week. Yes. Yeah. So we will have the pre-recorded episode we'll be doing that on Tuesday, and then we will air it at the normal time that we would be going live on Saturday at 6. So stay tuned for that. We're super excited to have our guest speaker. She's got a lot of great things to share, and we've got actually several guest speakers lined up to come. I'm really excited. We'll have kind of a very similar, well, not similar, I don't want to say similar because it's always different, right? But it'll be a branch off of what we discussed today in the self-image. We have a guest speaker who had struggled with, the dysmorphia and the image, and that's just going to be an outstanding talk you won't want to miss. So stay tuned.
Oh, and also one more day for Colleen's Mindset Gym, I believe, the 21st, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that's tomorrow. So if you guys haven't gotten a chance to watch our talk with Colleen, please go down a few and check that out. She has the Mindset Gym. She is a mindset and expansion coach, and she gave us a special discount. If you guys want to get hooked up with her, please go check that out.
Yeah, she's amazing. Talk about having a good cheerleader. She is just absolutely amazing. Colleen Pokish. So check that out again, and stay tuned. And until then, keep those good vibes spreading.
Bye, guys.